Retirements from Formula One races are a common occurrence, but their reasons are many and varied.
No!
Driver errors, collisions and car failures are usually to blame, but occasionally strange and bizarre incidents take place that force a driver to end his race prematurely. Mclaren went into the 2005 Chinese Grand Prix, the final race of the season, with a chance of winning the Constructors' Championship. But all hopes were dashed when Juan Pablo Montoya, unlike his teammate, failed to see and swerve past a dislodged drain cover on the exit of turn 10. The unfortunate incident and resulting impact was so great that it punched a hole in the floor of the Colombian's car, damaging the radiator and leading to his eventual retirement. Immediately after the race, it was decided that all drainage covers were to be welded down in the future. Championship leader Jenson Button went into the 2010 Monaco Grand Prix with high hopes, having won in the Principality the previous season. But Jenson's desire for more glory was cut to shreds when a McLaren mechanic forgot to remove a cooling bung from the left-hand radiator duct. Despite spotting the problem before lights out, there was nothing the team could do but watch on. With just a handful of slow laps completed, the reigning champion pulled over with a steaming car and took the short walk back to the pits. Mark Webber literally found himself in the hot seat during the 2004 Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka. The temperature in the cockpit of his Jaguar R5 was steadily intensifying as the race developed, and his mechanics couldn't work out what was wrong. They tried everything they could to help, even throwing a bucket of water into his seat during a pit stop. But with temperatures rising and his buttocks burning, he pulled into the pits and withdrew. This trip into the gravel by Sauber's Johnny Herbert at Monza in 1998 doesn't look too strange on first glance. But a forgetful Sauber mechanic had accidentally left a spanner in Herbert's cockpit before the start of the race. By lap 13, the tool had worked its way down to the footwell of the car, and as the British driver attempted to brake for the second Lesmo, his pedals were locked in position. Losing control of the car, Herbert's race ended in a plume of dust. Christian Albers blamed in-cockpit distractions for this crash on lap 10 of the 2007 Australian Grand Prix. The Dutch driver said the cable for his radio had come loose from his earplug and had become trapped in his seatbelt. As he looked down to try and free it, he missed his braking point by 30 metres and flew straight off the road in his spiker. After qualifying on the back row, it wasn't the ideal start to a season. 17 laps into the 2004 British Grand Prix, a difficult weekend for Olivier Panis went from bad to worse, as the fire extinguisher in his car exploded, spraying the entire cockpit and covering his steering wheel and visor with foam, blinding the Frenchman in the process. Not being able to see a thing, Panis pulled over and retired from the race. Adrian Sutil's crash on lap 15 of the 2008 Canadian Grand Prix triggered a safety car, so the race leaders poured into the pit lane to refuel. Kimi Raikkonen and Robert Kubica both jumped leader Lewis Hamilton, but stopped at the pit lane exit because the red light was on, and the rest of the field were still snaking through turn 2. Unsighted, the hasty Hamilton went straight into the back of Raikkonen's Ferrari.
Oh, look at the pit lane's closed and Hamilton has hit the back of Kimi Raikkonen!
With Nico Rosberg doing likewise to Hamilton from behind. Hamilton and Raikkonen both retired on the spot.
It was one of those things, I guess, and I mean, I'm not. It's a lot different to if you crash into the wall and you're angry at yourself. I'm not. It's not like that, you know. I apologise to Kimi if if I've ruined his race, but this sort of thing happens. So.
Jean Alesi had worked his way up into second place at the 1997 Australian Grand Prix. But as all the other cars around him pitted for new tyres, and crucially more fuel, he remained on track. For 5 laps his team attempted to call him in, but the Frenchman remained oblivious. And on lap 34, his Benetton finally ran out of fuel. In Alesi's defence, it transpired his radio was broken. But nevertheless, it was an embarrassing moment for the Frenchman. A sensational Ferrari 1-2 at the 1995 Italian Grand Prix came to an abrupt end when this weird incident forced Gerhard Berger into immediate retirement. Much to the dismay of the tifosi, an onboard TV camera mounted to his teammate Jean Alesi's car came loose and smashed into the Austrian's front suspension, destroying any chance he had of taking victory. Alesi would go on to retire a few laps later with a flaming rear wheel in the pits. All in all, a desperately unlucky day for the team in red. Perhaps the strangest of F1 retirements, however, comes from a driver who, officially, has never even started a Formula One race. Hans Heyer had failed to qualify for the 1977 German Grand Prix, but somehow managed to sneak out of the pits and onto the grid without anyone noticing. Quite how anyone failed to spot his bright yellow ATS still remains a mystery. It wasn't until lap 9, when the German suffered a gearbox problem and had to pull off the track, that his participation was even noted, and he was immediately black flagged. Retiring from a race you officially weren't in is a noteworthy achievement, and a unique moment in Formula One's history.